Hello, everybody. Hello. Alrighty. Well, Spirit and a couple of suggestions have got me prompted onto this live. I've been asked a couple of times if I was going to be doing anything for the 1111 portal. Yes, there is a thingy that's going to happen, but not actually on the 1111 portal. If you look in my community tab, you can see, hi, through support. If you look in my community tab, there is a sign up now for a lady named Barbara, and I did an interview with her, and so that will happen over 3 days' time. So I was invited to chat with her, and so there's an interview, and so that's coming up. But as you can see from the thumbnail on this, whenever people were questioning me, because anybody that's found me here or on the replays, you're on planet Matea, which is Lemuria 5. And the thing with the Lemurian astrology is that we're actually operating 6 months into the future. So whenever you look at, I had posted 511, and I know, or 5-1, and quite a few people are going to be a little confused on that. But that's why whenever I mention that the numerology is a little scrambled, it's because I've got 1 foot in normal world calendar and and I have 1 foot in Lemurian astrology. So for me, it's this is the 5th month we've just entered. This is the first day of Kahuku, and Kahuku is the 5th month of the Lemurian astrology. So it is the portal, the dolphin portal, because what's going to happen is this month we've just come from 3 days of Ma'ita. That was for October 29th, 30th, and 31st. And I hope everybody enjoyed the pure, undistorted light that comes from the central sun. Was beaming straight onto the planet. And so for the month of November, what's happening is we're going to be in the month of Kahuku, as I said, is the butterfly. The essence of the butterfly is transformation. So what's going to happen is our undistorted light will come through the Stargate of Rehu. And Rehu is the Dolphin Stargate. So that's a lot of fun. I know, right, Teresa Ford? I always feel like I get these energies. Yeah, exactly. And then you have to wait. Yeah, I mean, everybody's all keyed up over, what's it going to be like in 2025? The energy's going to be strange in 2025. And I'm like, I forgot. Yeah, I already entered 2025 months ago. So, beautiful. That's one thing that has been a lot of fun, has been dipping into different frequency musics. You can explore the solfeggio musics as well. And there is a gal, I think her name was Coral Antler, and she did some where they're dolphin Syrian frequencies, and she combines the different frequency musics along with, like you said, the light codes, the different light codes. Hi, Sandra. How you doing? Yeah, this was a little spontaneous. I think a couple of people had requested me to come on, and so this was this was me honoring people's requests. So it's in honor of entering into the Dolphin Stargate. That one has whales. We will have the whale Stargate come up in January. And that Stargate is going to be Kahuku. That'll be Sirius A for January. But for now, we're in the dolphin energy. But yeah, those two really, whenever I began my journey for Lemuria, both of those energies came in very strongly. The dolphins get more of the attention for me simply because they really are a lot more persistent. But the whales have been a very huge support. What's new on Lemuria 5? Oh, yeah. Behind the 6 months thing. Yeah, that was what I was saying too, is that I stand with one foot in each world, trying to bridge the two, because since I started on my Lemurian journey in 2021, I learned about the Lemurian calendar, and they operate 6 months in the future. So we already had 2025 come into effect. I did some. June 1st was the new year for the Lemurian calendar. So in June, we marked stepping into 2025. And that's why I say with the, hi, Annie Bear. Yeah, we're 6 months ahead. That's exactly it. So this is actually what would be considered in the Gregorian calendar May. And it's, well, I went ahead and pulled an oracle card for us here from the Lemurian oracle card deck. Oops, I forgot. I'm trying to get used to this. But I actually pulled new blueprints, which I found so fitting because this is the month of our transformation. This is the month of Kahuku. And so as we break down the old ways, we're going to be stepping into our new blueprint. And it can be very confusing, but there's, as you can see, a lot of new light codes coming in. And the tough part for us is because we are so inundated with our 2D entities down here doing their silly little filters to throw us off. We're saturated with that. And so we need to remember to aim for our joy and our positive whenever we are creating our new, which can be tough. Been a while. Antsy, huh? I do too. Yeah, that was Izzy Ivy's. I'll fold it up for anybody that's coming in. Yeah, that was the Izzy Ivy Oracle card deck. I'm just going to toss out a little harmonization since we have people here now. So if you're here or on the replay, hello, welcome. We're about to step into the same harmonization here. Tie ori ora mahakawatahi it ingawa te tau iri te oatawana. Waiota it ingawa te whenui tarani te katau. Waiota it ingawa te whaia tamatua te tama. Waiota Tie ori ora. Yay. Oh, Teresa Ford, I hear you. And being shoved onto the stage is scary. All I can say is I went through this, especially in February, and Val from Illumination Portal, she really helped me a lot. I had a lot of stage fright whenever I very first started. And it was easier for me the more that I did it. I know it sounds cliched, but literally the more that you can be in front of the camera. And if you don't want to do the lives, you can certainly do the records, and then you can do all the kinds of editing that you want, and then you can upload it to YouTube or onto Facebook or wherever else. TikTok, I think, is another popular one, but I got to be honest, I've seen TikTok stuff on YouTube, but I've never actually been to TikTok, so it's just not my forte. So Annie Bear's playing in the rain puddles. Did you get a lot of strong rains? Our rains have started. We did have some pretty big puddles this morning. Drummed a lot yesterday. Yeah, it was nice to just simply sit in the crystal light of days. Just to have that pure essence coming through was a lot of fun. Oh, yay. You paint to get the energy out. This is fun. Yay. Drumming, again, fun. Watching the light dance in the puddle. That sounds really, really fun. Oh, you get to play with it. Which crystals did you choose? Wow, mad respect to you, Judy. I have only done a small amount of painting with oils. I have like no patience. I have ethnicity, so I usually paint with acrylics if I'm going to do something. Oh yeah, Annie Bear. Whenever you walked your eight, which crystals did you? Oh, there it is. Oh, kind of like the Lemurian greenstone. It's a sister to the Lemurian greenstones. Rose quartz. That's beautiful. Yay. Wonderful. Taught your hubby to do this too. That's great. It's a lot of water this month. Yeah, I have to say, I'm really happy that we've got some soaking rains. The Lemurian greenstone, I'm not sure that I have. A sister to the Lemurian greenstone, there is a greenstone that is in New Zealand. And I got to be honest, I'm not really sure what the name of it is, other than it comes from New Zealand, and it is very powerful. So to me, that greenstone, it echoes with the green that you have found in your own river, especially the connections that it is water based, that it came from the river as well. Beautiful. Ooh, that sounds. I can almost smell the strawberry and rose. Yeah, me too. It makes a really nice balancing. And it helps us to balance too our left and right brain, which is masculine and feminine sides as well. Whew. Well, apparently I have an open channel right now. And I'm bringing in energy. It's a little dizzy. Well, a couple of the things that I wanted to say too is as we do the month of November, we definitely want to go ahead and keep up with our um, meditations, the MP3s that I use, and also any of the lives that I've done. If you were here on Tuesday, I have gone back through on the live chat and I have time stamped everything that we did as far as all of the energy work that we did, which was just Tuesday was just off the charts as far as getting things clean, cleared, alchemized, transported, and we even did some of the shiatsu balancing on that one as well. Yeah, I love the Ho'oponopono. You are, Annie Bear. Absolutely. I think as each of us get drawn forward, we're just simply, following the lit up breadcrumbs as we go along. And that's the only thing that we can do in this moment until a lot of things just collapse out of our timeline. And that's part of the tricky bit right now is trying to remain in the joy, doing the things that definitely bring us the joy, and keep focused only on that. Because this month, especially, we'll be stepping into the timeline that we want to create. So we kind of have to pull back and away from go with the wings of Toroa, which is the albatross, and get up and above into an observer mode to pull exactly, just like Teresa Ford's been saying, pulling some of the 3D threads. Yeah, Annie Bear, you're doing an amazing job. Everybody here is just doing an incredible job. Aw, well, thank you so much, Ethnicity, my fellow wombat, my fellow Kopanui. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. You're all a force to be reckoned with. That's for certain. I love how we're all each lighting up in different areas too around the world. It's a lot of fun. And yes, and yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yay. That's wonderful. 2D falls away, even 3D falls away, and I know a lot of us that are surprised, but 4D falls away. 4D is where the polarity is held, and so we are collapsing that. I saw the most fascinating video today. I cannot remember the man's name. If I can find it again, I will share the link. But the thing that most of the discussion was information that I already knew. It was the science community stepping forward and going, hey, we've discovered pretty much what everybody has been saying spiritually. Things like what's happening with the waves and where our attention flows is where our energy is focused, is where the things will be created. But they had a sample of DNA that they had placed in the streams of photons, and photons are our direct energy source from the central sun. When they did this, the photons that came in mirrored or imitated, recreated the DNA sample that they had placed in there. They then removed the DNA sample from the test. And the logical science would say that the photons would go back to doing whatever it was that they had done previously. What they found was it did not. The photons actually held the same pattern of the DNA, even with the original DNA missing, which is huge and goes forward to reflect that what we are creating, what we focus on, is what's mirrored back in our universe. And so it's a little bit of a tricky bit, but we need to stay as positive as we can. So we have to, wave bye-bye to, like Judy's saying, hate, rage, anger, goodbye. It's not even so much a matter of that. We just need to stay as focused on what we want in our positive timeline. We want happy communities. We want safe and well-fed communities. We want everybody looking out for one another as we step forward. Ah, beautiful. Yay. And yes, I love the term cherished too. I love orbs. Cherished is a really sweet word. We don't use it near enough. Same thing as exhilaration. And I just, anything that will make you laugh is another beautiful thing because it helps to raise you up. And yes, Lemuria is very Pleiadian. I think that we have other star nations that also interweave because there are the Motus, our birth sign representations down here. They are very large, benevolent beings that are galactic, and they support us down here. They've taken those forms so as to not scare the daylights out of us because, cosmically speaking, we're babies, we're toddlers. And so as we step forward, it is important to note that where we put our attention is what's going to be manifesting. And so as we do that, we're toddlers, we have the attention span of a gnat, but we've also been directed by our news medias, we've been directed by our shows, Hollywood has done this, and even before Hollywood, you had things like newspapers, where they're shaping the narrative, they're telling people where to focus. And so it's one of those things that as we step forward, we become more aware of what we can do. So that also brings the responsibility Not so much that we guard each and every thought, because that's an impossibility. The brain's going to think irregardless, but we need to do what's called a pattern interrupt if it is going negative. You have to check yourself, and if you're going negative, go find silly cat videos, go find silly puppy videos, take a walk, hug a tree. It needs to be a pattern interrupt to get you back onto anything that can make you laugh, to bring your energy back up again, up and out. And that's the other thing. Like I said, I time stamped everything on Tuesday's show. We did a lot of the Lemurian technologies on there, and I also did a very specific one where it was energy that is alchemizing first through the fifth dimensions. And what that's doing is that is allowing us to be more in the realms of the higher entities. And they're people just the same as us, but that will allow us to see more and more of our cosmic cousins, as they say. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no. I hear you, because I do the same thing. It's like, are you going to grow yet? Ripping them up out of the ground was kind of scary. It didn't work so good. Picard was married to Susan Day. Remember her from the Partridge Family. Oh, how neat. I didn't know that. And Teresa is currently pulling the 3D threads, dissolving. And that's the other thing too with the caterpillars. The caterpillars completely dissolve. It can be scary, especially if you're worried about your old families and friends disappearing. Don't worry about it. They're going through their own metamorphosis. And so, yeah, just the same. Some of the ones, they were only in your journey for a time. And so they will step out of your pathway. But that also brings in the potential for new friends. I mean, how cool would it be to be walking down your path and suddenly you're surrounded by elves or forest giraffes or, all kinds of things. Pixies, orbs. You even married a Keith. I edited my video, Lemuria, the date, hashtagged it Lemurian Astrology. Yeah, we need the empty hands in order to receive, and sometimes it can be really scary because we tend to, and this isn't just humans that do this. All peoples do this, all critters do the same thing, where we're more comfortable with the familiar. You're only going to see this plasticity a lot of times in the younger animals because they haven't been conditioned enough yet to be that fearful. Yeah, we leave claw marks when we're letting go. Oh yeah, self included. No, I need that. I know. And it is a process, Teresa Ford. It's like this spirit is like, let it go. I'm trying. Yes, your own sacred forest. And that's, if you can't go into real life, just take a few seconds and you can mentally walk down a pathway and you can mentally see your friends there too. Most of the ones that I have seen are different variations of light. Some of the beings, and they haven't presented themselves fully yet, which makes me wonder if I look like a ghost in their world. But there's a group of 5 that usually stand between me and my house or me and my barn when I'm coming and going around the farm, and they're not fully formed yet, but it's just like dazzling white lights. And then the other ones that I've seen, although not as much white now, they are in a very much quiet mode right now, is the colored lights. Although I have to say, last week was busy. I don't know about you lot. I would imagine we were all doing the same, being pushed and pulled all over the universe to do all kinds of things. We were on missions. Could do with a few less missions and a little bit more upgrading, I think. Ooh, that's pretty. I like those colors. Yeah, Judy, we definitely laugh. Laugh the whole way through. You know, laughter can get you through so much gunk. It really can. I can remember doing a lot of hikes in the rain and the mud, and my friends and I had fun. I mean, it was successful simply because we were laughing the whole way. Same thing with, well, it's a little bit Disney-ish, but you remember the Whistle While You Work with the little dwarves? That's the same sort of a thing. Yeah, they're really good. Healing sleeps. I could use a few more of those. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, some of the movies are really fascinating because you go back through and it's a lot like, let me think. Wasn't the Dark Crystal, although at the very end of the Dark Crystal, when you see the two beings, they're called the Skeksis and then the Mystics, where the Skeksis are basically everything evil, and then the Mystics are everything good. The two beings actually merge and they form crystalline being at the end of the Dark Crystal. And they're not on camera very long, but they're very tall crystalline beings. And to some extent, that's kind of the morphosis that we're going through right now because each of us have the polarity in us. And so it was a very good visual for us because of course as we start off it's like, oh, the Skeksis are the bad guys. And yet you see in towards the end of it, one of the Skeksis actually perishes. When that happens, one of the mystics actually blips out of existence as well. That's when you begin to clue into these are the two polarities of them. And so whenever the dark crystal is healed, then the metamorphosis happens with those beings and they change into crystalline beings. It's just that we get little breadcrumbs as we go along. Yeah, as our vibrations go up and we'll completely morph into something else. That's going from the 4D into the 5D. So right now in our world, everything would have us believe in polarity, wars, politics, football, and it's just not true. We're all the same beings. Yeah, Jim Henson was absolutely one of my heroes. Jim Henson believed that you should come out of a movie feeling better than when you went in. That is a motto that I have taken to heart over my life. I really try to leave people feeling better than when they first bump into me. Labyrinth is the other one that is very important too. And with Labyrinth, when the girl, the teenager, because she's stepping into her power and she's stepping into her role in the world. And he's tried absolutely everything to dominate her. And she finally looks at him and she remembers the script that she'd been trying to remember for a play, but it was very powerful. And she said just that. She said, "You have no power over me." It's important as we go forward because the shadows are going to gnash and wail and throw their arms in the air and try to make us less than what we are. And we need to remember, just like she did, you have no power over me. You guys are on a Muppet tangent here. I love the Muppets. I love Miss Piggy. I gotta admit, I absolutely adored her. Yep, that was it. Yeah, that was from Labyrinth. But that's going to be one of our keys as we go forward. Yeah, the two men in the old balcony. Who was the other one? Sam. Sam, the patriotic eagle. He cracked me up. His judgment's just so funny. Same as the old men in the balcony. Oh, Lord. Gonzo. Gonzo had such a fetish with chickens. Yeah, right? Let me rule you. Yeah, right. No, thank you. I don't need that either. Oh, he was trying absolutely. And that was just it. He was trying every trick in the book. And that is a trick because when we go forward into the Lemurian age, that's like I said, it's like watching the pod of dolphins. You've got one that will lead for a short time, and then another will take over and lead. And so there is no hierarchy per se in the dolphin pods. They all watch out for each other. They actually use their sonars to scan each other. And but it's a different way of being. It's we've been raised to where we need to take a lot more self responsibility. So it's sometimes it's a little scary. How cool! That is a neat realization. It wasn't all that long ago that I realized I sort of floated near my body rather than living in it. So I'm working on my way down to my root. And I know I have to in order to be in my power. That's interesting. Teresa, did you do that in order to get away from a trauma? Because sometimes we will do this for protection to do that. And sometimes it can take a while to remember that it's okay, that it's safe to be in our bodies. In our bodies, you can even treat our body like a pet. You would comfort a kitten, or you would comfort a dog or a small child. That's interesting. This past event was just prized off. So you've had a knowing then with your tuning fork. And right now, that's one of the solfeggios. Right now, we're playing with 825 for this month as well for the brow chakra. David Bowie. Oh, so you didn't know that you were, yeah, and you didn't even know you were doing it. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And it's instinct because you're trying to protect yourself. That's what's happening. Yep. Wow. That is actually really powerful. So you had something put in place for quite a while, Annie Bear. That's pretty potent. Teresa, some of the stuff that we do, like the Shiatsu that I do, or the bubble technique, helps you to feel safer inside your body. And one of the things that you can do is just simply dial through your energy, because my guess is you're in the column of light, you're in your aura that is surrounding your body, and you push that out quite a ways to keep yourself safe. And so you can just thread that energy down through the body itself, and you can elevate the energy of the body. You can elevate your frequency of the body and then step into it. Hey, Karen, how you doing? Long time no see, eh? How's your world? We're rocking the Toho today. Unra Toho, which is the day of the humpback whale, which is the theme today is celebration. Oh yeah, and Teresa Ford, there is no hurry whatsoever. You'll get there for sure, sure. Have I ever worked on a case of leukemia? Yes. Yes, I have. And it is tricky because you're not just working through the blood works of the people, you're also working on the environment that causes that. Sometimes it's EMFs, the environment that they're in. Sometimes it is also the no, it's just that it is the environment. It's either something that they've been exposed to recently, or it's an environment that they're living in. Um, Sometimes, geographically speaking, our bodies can be not in a good alignment with some of the places that we birth into. Sure. Virgo, a little tricky to begin with. Sure. Oh, and the thing that I was mentioning at the very, very, very beginning of this, when I was talking to myself, was that in October I did an interview with a gal named Barbara. Her last name is Babish. I think it's Barbara Marie Babish. It's going to be the post right now that is in my community. And so if you go to the post, I think I have the direct link where you can register for that. There's 15 of us that did interviews. And so when when you register for that, there's free gifts, and I'm only mentioning that because my free gift was an energy clearing for the meridians. So that's another freebie that you can pick up. And of course, there's 14 other. Lorraine Gailey was one of them, but each one of the speakers then will also have free gifts. And that event's happening November 12th, 13th, and 14th. Huna Flash. Yeah, Huna is actually taking Ma'utitaki, Huna Flash. He's taking some time out to metamorph the same. He's really having to do some emptying out and some recreating. So these might be codes for somebody. These numbers that have been appearing, because Annie Bear says, I don't know what that means. I register, but I don't do Facebook anymore. I didn't realize that she was doing Facebook, Annie Bear. I thought that it was going to be hosted on either YouTube or um, through the email. She's new to me, so hopefully we'll be able to figure it out. And if not, just send me send me an email through my contact me on my either debbiedement.com. You'll see a contact me form, or at the top of my shop, you'll also see another contact me form. And yeah, because if you can't get it, just let me know, and I'll try to send you that freebie, because I created for it to go out into the world. 4-box breathing. That's interesting. So what's your 4-box breathing? There was one that I just came across last night, and it was where you hold your hands in prayer position, and then you breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, and you empty everything out whenever you're breathing it out. And then you hold your breath, and as you're holding your breath, you press your palms together, and you should hold it until you begin to feel a shaking in the arms, or if you feel like you need to take your breath, then go ahead and take your breath. But try to do that for a set of 3. And what that's doing is that's helping to reset part of the vagus nerve, which is nice. It's calming. I didn't think that I would get the results that I did from that one, but it was another really soothing type thing to do. There's a lot of numerology codes. Some of the things as they come in, the different numbers that you'll get, and sometimes those will be key codes just for you. You can say them aloud, you can play around with them, you can see if there's anything that comes up. You can even look up the numerology for that to see if there's anything going on with it. hmm You can manifest on the inhale because we're breathing in, and then exhale. Do it again. What are we doing again? Yeah, that's what I was saying with Teresa Ford. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Yeah, my tuning fork is an ohm, and it is 136.1. Yep. Um, so put your hands in prayer position to begin with. And then what you're doing is you're inhaling through your nose. Just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And then exhale out through the nose. Empty it all the way out. When you've reached the end of it, hold your breath and press your hands together. And the first few times that you do that, you might not feel it in your arms, but you should begin to feel like a mild shaking in the arms, but just keep pressing your hands together. And then go ahead and inhale again when you feel the need to. And not like, yeah, wait forever doing this thing. It gets easier as you go. But try to do it for a set of 3. You can actually work your way up to a set of 6 and then a set of 9. But what that does is that takes some of the energy out of the vagus nerve. Hi, Utica. How you doing? Yeah, yeah. I was really surprised. It was very calming. It's one of those things that it's not sedating per se, but it definitely helps to take some of that nervous energy off. And again, it's for the vagus nerve. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I know Tuesday was a bit of a roller coaster for you. So, yep. I was just describing to everybody a different breathing and it's a vagus nerve release that I had come across. But yeah, it's nice. It's very grounding. And the benefits from that actually lasted quite a while. It was a great way to go to sleep, that's for sure. Yep, clears the stale energy. And I like how whenever you're doing that, it gives you something to think about as you're doing each one because it's like, okay, I have to inhale. Just sure. Utica, start off with your hands in prayer position, and prayer position, and then you inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, exhale all the way out, and then when you've reached the end of your exhale, hold, and then press your palms together as you're doing that. And then you should begin to feel, after a time, you'll begin to feel a shaking in your arms. And then when your body tells you it needs to breathe, go ahead and breathe in again. And what that shaking is doing is that's offloading energy from your vagus nerve. And if you can repeat that for a set of 3, and then you can build up to a set of 6, and eventually a set of 9. Wonderful. I'm so glad. I love to share these little things that I come across. I think it helps us build out our tool chest, our toolkits. That way whenever we're in the flow, wow, Any Bear, that means that that's a nice release for you. Yeah, and the important thing on it is when you're pressing it, don't worry if your arms aren't shaking at first. The more that you're doing it, the more that it will cause your arms to shake, and then allow it to happen because it's releasing off that tension and that energy. And I found it to be beneficial simply because as human beings, we'll end up with neck and shoulder, sometimes we'll end up with the shoulders around our ears. And it loads that pressure onto our vagus nerve, which keeps us in a state of tension all the time, which feeds into our anxieties. And so this is a way just to reverse things. Ah, cool. Judy, big hugs to Daisy. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Sure, absolutely. Go right ahead. Yep. She probably either knows it or knows a similar technique. Bye. Bye, Judy. Bye, Daisy. Go have fun. Be a good girl. Daisy, I mean, of course. Oh, wow. I didn't, but I almost sneezed. That was a lot of energy. Daisy, be a good girl and have fun. You're gonna like your haircut whenever you're done. Yeah, the important thing whenever you're doing that technique is to be gentle with it. And like I said, you're holding your breath as you're pressing your palms together. And then as soon as your body tells you that it needs to do the inhale, take the inhale. But you're doing it through the nose for both inhale and exhale. Aw, really? That's interesting. So that is probably Utica. That is probably energy that is coming off. One of the things that you can try to do is, I'm hearing don't press as hard to start with because you've got a lot of stuff that's coming up and needs to come out. And the other thing that you might try is lay down flat on your bed to try this. Or reclining back is the other one that I'm hearing. The energy is trying to seek and ground off. So those would be my suggestions. Because you did just start doing this. You ducking out too, Sandra? Thank you for stopping by. Yay. And my guess is whenever you have if you've got like a lot of shaking or you're having because what that is my right side back is hurting. When you do that, sometimes the energy is seeking to ground itself. So you're offloading one area, and so it's running down the ladder to show itself in a different area. So a little bit at a time, and that will safely ease that off for you. And I would say just start off with a set of 3. Maybe do it as you're about to go to bed or go to sleep. Yeah, I ended up with a really good night's sleep from that. You can drink water. I find with this one, it wasn't quite as important to drink the water because it wasn't quite the same energy release. It's an actual physical release coming off of, okay. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of, let's say, a cheetah is chasing a gazelle and the gazelle gets away. If you're to actually keep the camera on that gazelle, you would see them trembling. I mean, their whole body would just be shaking. And that's a mechanical release, because what happened was whenever the cheetah was chasing them, their entire body was flooded with adrenaline. And so there is a physical release that has to happen. Well, sometimes, say they've managed to escape the cheetah, they still have the adrenaline dump. It's still in all their muscling. And now, because of the disturbance that happened with the cheetah, the whole herd has to move on. Well, that gazelle did not get the opportunity to offload everything. Our modern lives right now have us so preloaded, so stressed, so bathed in adrenaline that we cannot offload our stored energy, and we can't finish out, we can't complete the rest of that chemical dump that's happened in our bodies. And so it's slightly different from whenever we're doing the energy offloading, whenever I'm doing the meridian balancing. That's the one where I ask you to drink some water. This one, not so much. I mean, if you feel moved to, absolutely go for it. But you don't necessarily need it the same way as whenever you do the other. Bye, Teresa. Aw, thank you for stopping by. Yay. Now, this whole thing was just kind of spontaneous. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Oh, is that Shake It Off like Taylor Swift? I actually love that song. I think it's so fitting. It's like, oh, yeah, we just don't engage with the icky. We just do this other thing and dance our merry way. Yay. Yeah, sometimes you can get some really big body shakes. I like being in a bed if you're going to do something like that, because if you can offload it, it can be kind of tiring too. Traveling to my brother in a different state, wanted to charge my crystal for my sister-in-law as she has her last this month. Came online to check how to charge it. Ah, how wonderful. That's fine. Utica, you didn't get the notification. Probably, do check that your subscription is going through, because mid-October I saw where a couple of times people got their not their notifications. It was their subscriptions. They got unsubscribed. I don't understand it, and I don't think YouTube understands it, but occasionally the machine will unsubscribe people. So I gave a warning mid-October to double check that you're still subscribed on here. And as far as the notification goes, I didn't actually upload the live to go live until this morning. I actually created it. So I've been sitting in the energy to see if this was something that I was going to do today. Yep, click the bell again. But feeling the energy, the dragon energy. Isn't that wild when that happens? It's kind of crazy. I've had that where the energy is just really moving all around the body. And it's because I've had different upgrades, usually at night. And then when it comes in, it does shift around my energy as it's changing. It's kind of cool. Oh, cool. Subscribe. Glad came. Well, thank you very much. And Utica, as I said, if you were to look at Tuesday's live chat that we did, I did a ton of different variations of techniques in that one. And I did do a full set for the meridian clearing. So if you would like, you can show it's time stamped. I pinned it in the comments section. I pinned all of the timestamps. And so you can use the remote Shiatsu meridian clearing for her if she would like to. That will work for her. For the Cancer, I mean. And it's just balancing your meridians. Yeah, it's very, very powerful. And a lot of times it just depends on what's going on. But, each time that happens, you're collapsing your stories. And I simply call them that because, all of us have our stories. These are the things that we tell our families, or we tell society, or we tell ourselves. And sometimes they can be very negative. We don't realize how negative they are, But as we repeat them, then we reinforce them. And so the undoing and the doing, it collapses that energy and it clean slates it. And for other things that I've used that for, rescue situations, PTSD situations, some of the animals will come through pretty quickly and they'll clean slate and they'll move on just fine. Because the humans that they're around, I used to find this with the dog grooming. The dogs were happier coming in for the grooming with me than they sometimes were with their own family members. And the reason why is because I was the dog groomer, they were the dog, which meant that we had a great accord. They understood that I would take care of them, but they expected them to behave themselves. It's very Mary Poppins with that. And they responded beautifully to that. There are people would come in and they would say, I rescued him from a terrible situation, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And it would usually be in one ear, out the other for me, because most of it was repeated, but it really was just a story. And so we were clean slating that dog as he came through. But the people would keep recreating that story and would hold it in place. And so for some of my dogs, it became very important for me to say, okay, now look, you've just regularly got a dog. You need to behave this dog like a dog. Stop re-traumatizing them. Is pretty much it. Aw, beautiful. Yep, tears. Tears are wonderful. You're still welcome. Yep. Tears are another expression of letting the energy out. That's old stagnant energy that's releasing too. Yep. And all of us love to hold on to our stories. That's why when you hear the languaging of the Lemurian light codes, it's very specific energy that's happening. It is a technology. And the cool thing about it is that it is expanding your own soul in your body, in your environment, in your space. So it's helping you to step into and expand more of who you are. Yeah, that's just it. You see it so many times with the people and the dogs and the cats. And it's one of those things where we feel good because we've saved someone, something. We've made a big difference in that animal's life. And a lot of times they're rescuing us, not us rescuing them. But if you're just repeating the trauma over and over and over, all you're doing is stealing the now. Now, obviously, you're going to have something where, let's say that you've got, say, an Australian Shepherd and he's been abused by somebody wearing a baseball cap in the past. And you'll be mindful of that. You don't really want to terrify them, especially as they're getting used to you. So, of course, you're going to hide your baseball hat for a while. But there was a lot of times whenever they were bringing up all of this stuff, and it really wasn't for the benefit of the critter. Yeah. Well, and we're in new territory. That's just it. We've got the screaming banshees in the forms of those that used to be in power, and they're watching their power structures crumble. And so you've got two sides of that. One is you've got people that want to be in control freaks. We've all met them. And then you've got other people that want to be dominated because they don't want to step into self-responsibility. And so it's both sides of that coin. One side needs to know that they can't dominate other people, and the other side of the coin is they need to remember that they've got to put their own shoes on, they've got to pull up their britches, and they've got to learn to stand on their own 2 feet and to learn to think all for yourself. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Hey, did some. Oh, that's a shame. In one way, I mean, I can understand that. So this is the other thing that that happens too. Is some people will only adopt, and it is your choice. I don't understand why. Actually, I do understand why. It's because we were being forced into the situation, which is ridiculous. But ethical breeders are amazing because they are supplying animals forward as pets, and as family members that have been specifically bred, usually to do a purpose. It's not just the horses that just do the purposes. I mean, you'll see things like working dogs, you'll see herding dogs, and you will also see things that are just really they're taking animals and they're trying to make them the best, not only with their conformation, so that you can ensure that you have the longest livelihood as you possibly can, but also the temperament. You know, whenever you're breeding from specific parents, you've got a reasonably good idea. Oh, big hugs to you, Paul. You've got a reasonably good idea what that temperament is on that dog or cat or horse. You also know the physical challenges that may happen from that particular breed, and you can go ahead and cater to that whenever you're getting something from a rescue situation. I think my main thing is just, let me see. I grew up knowing an unethical breeder. I grew up knowing unethical people. We all have, because there are those amongst us that are not humans. And so he traumatized me, stillborn puppy. Oh, okay, sure. Did some. You can actually run the undoing and the doing around that fear, that intention. The wrong kind of breeder, because look at how many breeders that you maybe have given a hard pass to because of the trauma. You've got a PTSD thing going on there. It's just something to think about. And I don't like the fact that it takes your choice away. You know, whenever I have people that are screaming out of the rafters, and excuse me for saying it, but some of these people, they have got the worst idea about how to take care of an animal. And they come up thinking that they're on their high horse. And it's like, are you kidding me? You cannot do that. You cannot allow your, I'll give you an example right quick. Oh, I believe a dog should free roam. No. I've seen too many dogs get killed by cars. No. It is on you to take care of that baby. And I don't like I said, I like having all my options open. If I am going for a specific breed, I will have researched that breed, and there's a particular reason that I'm going for it. And if I feel like it and I'm drawn to it, I can pick a puppy from a shelter that I may never have picked from before. You know, maybe a breed that I didn't know. And as you say, but yes and no. I find that there are unethical people with the animal shelters too. They're overflowing. And in some cases, they know that that animal needs to be passed over to the other side. They really do, because that animal is dangerous to themselves and to others. And yet they will lie in order to rehome that animal, not for the good of the animal, certainly not for the good of the family, but to the benefit of them. They like to line their pockets. That is not all animal shelters, obviously, but I have seen some seriously unethical pet shelters. Seriously unethical. And of course, there's always the universal cat distribution thing. Everybody's like, I planned for my dog. I waited for my puppy to happen. I planned for all of this, you know. And then you get a cat, and it's like, well, they just came up to me. I found them by the garbage bin or whatever. Gotta love a cat. Sometimes a cat just walks right on in. And they're like, hi, you're my human now, slave. Give me my tuna. Aw, how pretty. Sometimes I feel like having a small bird. You know, a lot of times with the small birds, you can do things like the finches or the canaries, and they have amazing, you can do enrichment with their cages and everything to where, and everybody says, yes, but it's a cage. Actually, that is their bedroom. You know, they feel safe, they feel happy. It's usually where they're content. And so it's where you create the safe space for them to live and interact with you. And it's the same thing for a fish tank. I know everybody feels terrible about the little beta males in the cups. You'll see them whenever you go to any fish store, really. Um, and so I've had so many people, and they think that they're doing this poor fish a favor. But you have to understand a beta fish, and they're the ones that come in these little fancy. They're also called a fighting fish. Beautiful fins. I've had people that have wanted to put them into a 50-gallon tank. Don't. They have not evolved for that. If you were to go to where they came from, they were evolved to be in shallow mud puddles. So they live in manky water. They live in very shallow water. And of course, if you put a beta male into a community tank, you need to be exceptionally careful that the other fish do not nibble off their fins, because a beta fish, especially the male, can't swim that fast. And so everywhere that the other fish is literally eating your poor beta fish on the fins, you can end up with fungal infections or bacterial infections from that. You can do usually those little Coreodorus catfish. They come in all kinds of colors. They're really cute. They're about that big. The nice thing about the Cories is that they're a community fish. They're a bottom dweller. So you can have your beta fish usually hangs up at the top of the tank for the community. And then the Cories will tend to work the Coreodorus catfish will tend to work the bottoms. Sometimes they'll zip up. Bye, Annie Bear. But with the betas, a lot of the fish they move so much faster, and so it's not fair to them if you put them into a community, say, of really fast moving fish. I got off on a tangent. Sorry, talking fish, talking critters. Is it true that when a cat purrs, a loved one is nearby? Yes, actually, yes. When they purr. The only other thing that kitty cats do whenever they're purring is if you are under the weather, or if they're under the weather, or if they have something that's gone on, say they've sprained a paw or something along those lines. The purring is a mechanism. It sets up a resonant frequency that helps them to self-heal. And so sometimes you'll notice whenever you're sick with like a cold or something, a lot of times they'll try to come hang out next to you if you're recovering from like surgeries or what have you. And what that is happening is they're setting up that resonant frequency with that purring, and that helps to balance your energies and will help you to overcome that cold faster. There's times whenever you just can't have access to a kitty cat, and humans can share colds with kitty cats as well. So be careful. If you cannot have access to a kitty cat, you can type that in happy cat purring on YouTube, and just hearing that can also help. Yes, actually, Utica, they are high dimensional beings. Not all of them, because some cats are not any more aware than some humans are. Sometimes they're just at the beginning of their awareness stages, and so they'll be very 3D kitty cats. But for the most part, whenever a kitty cat comes into your life, it is to help you with your higher chakras, and it's to play with the higher dimensions. The cats and the dogs both can see things that we cannot, which is why sometimes you'll see dogs or cats reacting in haunted videos where they're reacting to something that you can't see on the film. And the reason why is because they see in spectrums that we cannot. And so they're reacting to the things that we can't see. Hi, Lori. How you doing? Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a wow there. Oh, Paul, did you have fun on earlier this week? I know you said you were going to go to one of the political parties, rallies, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully you had fun. You're still here, which means you survived. Oh, Lord. Yeah, really. But there again, he's also making you laugh. So, yeah, not all of them are. I've had a lot of the reactions whenever I'm doing the energy healing where they can hear me. Animals can hear me whenever I'm coming in and I'm talking to them silently. And it's no different than I'm sitting here going blah 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 to you guys. Mentally, I do the same thing. Only I just keep my mouth shut. And usually, what I'll come in with, depending on the animal, will depend on if I come in from a how to describe it. I'll come in from a distance. If it's especially a flighting or a skittish one, I'll stand a good 10, 15 feet away energetically from them and engage. And it's like, hi, I'm here. I'm not going to hurt you. And then I will ease into their energy field to do the work with them. If it's one of your outgoing, happy-go-lucky types that are just, friends with everybody, I can usually come in a lot faster. And it's like, hi, can you hear me? And then they will engage. Most of the time, they'll be in a little bit of a shock. You can see their eyes open pretty wide as I'm working around them. And a lot of times they'll jerk or they'll turn to look and see. But as I'm doing the energy work and as I'm doing the meridian clearing, it feels really good. And then they just cotton onto that fast and they're just all over it. And then it's the opposite. It's like, they get really enthusiastic. Mine. But really, I try to be respectful with the animals as I come in, especially, like I said, with the skittish ones, because it would be no different than if I was to have a 12-foot tall angel that comes right back in. And, it would be daunting. I recognize that. Oh, be right back. That time I'm on. Oh, see you, Paul. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, wow. We've been going for over an hour already. Very Tom and Jerry. That's part of the reason why I love having animal family members, because they're constantly doing stuff and they're very sibling like. I mean, I've had them in the past where, oh golly, they beat up on each other, but if somebody else comes around, God help you, come to each other's defenses. And I had the last Kuwati Monday and cat pairing that I had. Both boys, because they were both boys, exceedingly finicky when it came to eating. But whenever I put them both in the same bedroom, all of a sudden they became amazing eaters. Hi, Sal. How you doing? Welcome aboard. Mostly just chattering here. Are we going to do a connecting to Matea energy this month to help clear her energy? Is actually perfect. It's us that is cleaning and clearing to do more of our connections, because we're clearing away the clouds that were put in place. So the more that you hear the Lemurian light codes, and I try to do that every week whenever we start off any of the videos, and I can certainly run through it again if you'd like, because we do have some new people that are coming in as other people leave. That helps to connect you into that energy so that you can have a reminding and a knowing. Aw, you're okay. Mr. Boo's got you day. It was yesterday. Aw, but he didn't eat him salmon. Aw, that is so cat. But you see, if you'd have had another cat around or another animal that even looked at the food, that's what happened with my cat. Because my cat's like, no. He was an inside-outside cat. He was actually an outside cat whenever he first came up. We gradually worked on him being an inside cat. But yeah, he's like, nah, I might go to Granny's house to see what she was. He'd come back like literally like the cat drug in and always sick for at least a couple of days afterwards. But as soon as I put him in the bedroom with Uguay the Kawadi, oh my stars! Both boys were convinced that they couldn't reach each other, and they certainly could reach each other's toys. They certainly could reach each other's foods, but they weren't convinced that the other one was going to eat their food. They became the best eaters ever. It's pretty funny. Okay, everybody. So for everybody that's been coming in, we'll go ahead and do a real quick Lemurian harmonization, and this is just a simple. The energy balancing to get everybody energetically back on the same page. Okay. Tihe, hori, hora, mahakawatahi, it ingawa, to tell iri to otawana, wayutapu, it ingawa, to finui, tarani tau, wayutapu, it ingawa, to fire tama to it tama, wayutapu, tihe, hori, hora. Oh, it's funny. Woo, gravy. Gravy's wonderful. Gretchen had that with Mr. See what I mean? That's literally all that you need to do. And they're like, oh, someone may eat my munchies. That's so funny. And yeah, it's a given with the cats that they're just gonna be picky. The absolute worst picky though was my first Kawadi Monday. She was ridiculous, especially as a child. We threw away so much food because she was convinced. It didn't matter what you put in front of her. She's like, oh, this is the most amazing thing that I have ever eaten. I want to eat just this forever and ever and ever and ever. Every day, every meal. And then like the second day, ew, what's that? Get out of the way. I'm not eating that. I don't even want to look at that. I don't want to touch it. Are you kidding me? She was ridiculous. Oh, that'll be wonderful for you, Sal. And I think that'll be a lot of fun for Mr. Boo, too. I bet he misses having a doggo around. Plus, it's always helpful to have a foster. How long have you had Mr. Boo for? Since it was his gotcha day. Likes dry foods. Oh. Actually, it can be from that, but the boys. Is something about the boys' urinary tract. They end up with a lot more crystals than the girls do. And so that's something on my MP3 for the cat MP3. I specifically built that in because that's one of the struggles that a lot of cats have. You can get specific food for that too. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. How cool that you adopted him on Halloween. Has the Sal, has the orb activity around your area, has it been increasing or is it about the same or is it less? Just curious. Feels like it's increasing. Or the other potentiality could be that it's coming up. Oh, baby, dear God, that is a really lucky cat that he found you unsocialized. Poor guy. It takes a while for a cat to come around. Goodness, goodness, goodness. I can only hope that the people got their karma. Usually with cats, they'll find their way. If they've got access to the outside, they'll find a way. But if they're trapped, you got a problem. Poor baby. But he's not a poor baby now. Now he's doing really, really well. Ah, cool. So yours different. There's more things that are flying in from the sky and up from the ground, more like the true orbs. Cool. Aw, that's lovely. It's a lap cat now. That is so sweet. Had a dude. What a good boy. Wonder how old he was when you adopted him. Was he an adult already, or was he a kitten? I know, right? That's part of why I ended up with the oh my word, dives into the dirt. That's part of why I ended up with the fish tanks. The fish tanks are a lot more fascinating than TV. Ah, cool. There are still buses, but fewer. Yeah, I noticed on mine. Mine's a little hard to see simply because we have so much cloud cover. But when we don't have the cloud cover, there's at least, well, I have my usual UFO that hangs out and always is guarding and watching. But there's at least three other star patterns that will begin acting just like the little rainbow twinkly lights that I have. Oh, cool. 3 to 5. That's pretty cool. Grandson able to get a black feral cat to interact, trying for months. Oh, that's wonderful. My last boy was a black kitty. Well, he had a little bit of white on him, but he was mostly black. So it was fun. Yeah. Speaking to this yet again, this has really gotten me a lot of anger. People have not been happy over this, as I was told by three different experts in their field, and they were karma based. They all said the same thing. They said that the karmic timelines actually ended in 2012. That said, our universe works like a mirror. So that means don't run out there and be mean or evil, because then the universe will mirror that back stronger. That's pretty much at 3 times stronger. So what we put out, we get back. And so even though the proper karma cycle, from what I was told, closed in 2012, that was that timeline closing, you still need to be aware of what you put out. So you're really practicing the higher vibes. So you should be putting out at the most neutral a love vibe if you can. If you can't do the love vibe to say someone that you don't interact with well, try for neutrality. Try an observer mode if you can't do the love vibe. But you need to put out the love thing as much as you can. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Oh, let me see. Saturn. Saturn Moon Network removed. A lot of it depends on what timeline you're on too, because there's so many timelines that are operating right now. It's a fewer timeline shifts than what we had in 2021 and 2022, but it's still highly active. That's why I say I like having choices. Like I like having choices of if I'm going to get it from a breeder or if I'm going to get from the rescues. I like a choice of of which timeline I'm choosing. And so it's very important as we go forward to do as many choices as we can in the better feeling energy as much as we can. Yeah, Lori, my life took a major shift in 2012. I lost so much. I lost a good friend, and I lost my heart horse Galahad in that year. And I had another friend um, that unalived herself that same year. So 2012 was one of my more drastic years. It was quite the roller coaster. And I had new that came in, obviously, but it was something else. And yes, as once our heart chakra is open, more importantly, because I think some of us are a little bit angsty um, with the how do I know if I'm on the right timeline? How do I know? And you're worried that you're going to miss the boat, and you can't miss the boat. You can't do this wrong. We're getting a lot of help from the photons that are coming in. So each day as we go along, even if we have cloud coverage in here, we're getting more and more of that photonic energy that is flooding in, which is why it's important, like I said earlier, that we keep our focus positive as much as we can. Try to pull back as much as you can from negative, even looking at negativity as much as you possibly can. Yep. Yeah, you still need to balance your energies for sure. But I think what's going to happen is as we gradually upgrade our own body system and our own energy system, the earth itself is already, like I said, if you found me, you're already on planet Matea, which is Lemuria 5. That's the planet of light. She's doing great. So it's just a matter of us as babies remembering as we come into the golden era, we will be getting more and more of the photons from the central sun, and it will be naturally working on our bodies. So we can't mess this up. We can't do this wrong. The only thing that we have to do is detach from the negatives, which is a 2D entity projection onto us because they have been controlling us. So we're practicing and we're learning to remember what it's like. And like I said, this energy that's going to be coming in is already coming in. If you're concerned that it's not coming in, look at the sun. The sun used to be yellow. All of us older people, we always reach for a yellow crayon whenever we drew our suns in our little crayon drawings. Now you would have to reach for a white crayon because that puppy is white. That indicates that we're getting more and more photons in here, and we're using that. Our bodies are naturally evolving or morphing, just like those little crystalline beings in the dark crystal. So that let that be your verification, and try to remember as much as you can going forward. Laugh, joy. This is definitely the month of the Dolphin Stargate. That's called Rehu, and that is where it is going to be coming in from. Will be coming in through the Undistorted Light. Will be coming in through Rehu, which is Sirius B, and that's the Dolphin Stargate. So joy will be the key for us as we go through this month. And the essence for this month is transformation. Yeah, you remember what it's. I think everybody remembers when it was yellow. I got into arguments with my first family, heck, even my spouse. It's like, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. Take a look. You see that? No, you can't really see that because it hurts to look directly at it, which of course, it always hurts to directly look at it, but still, it's way more white than what it used to be. Well, and kind of like Utica is saying, 2012, where we got back, there was literally so many timelines collapsing. It was kind of crazy. The Mayan calendar ended. and there was the end of the karmic circle, and it was the beginning edge of what we're in now, which is part of why, yes, at some point I'm sure that we'll have a tipping scale and the light will come in stronger. But if you look at nature, when the sun comes up, usually there's a pre-dawn period, and I think that we've been in a pre-dawn. I don't know how long the pre-dawn will continue for. I am focusing on it being gentle, easy, and that we all, not just humans, but all of our animal friends, our plants, I want our mushrooms, I want everything in the sea. I want all of it to be nice and ease into this new era. That's my intention. I think we should put on party hats and just enjoy, because so many of us have been traumatized by those bloody little 2D entities. Quite frankly, I think that the human race needs to be given some time to understand and come out so that we can recover from our PTSD, basically, from being traumatized, literally, from the 2D entities. Yeah, let's do this. More gentleness. Absolutely. Yeah. Ease and grace. Absolutely. Beautiful. Sure, Utica. And remember to hold that same space for yourself. Sometimes we are the worst judges on our own selves. We'll give everybody else a hall pass, but we certainly come down hard on ourselves. And we need to be kind to ourselves as much as we are to everybody else. We don't need to be perfectionists all the time. And I'm sure some of that is ego trying to protect ourselves, because we've always navigated in the past. It's like, geez, I shouldn't have said that. I feel like an idiot now, because you feel like you're being voted off the island if you're not careful. Healing. Yeah. So that was 2020. 2020 was just off the charts. But see, there again, 2020 was one of the indications for the 2D entities to do their shenanigans, to do their damage. And if you see, which is a real shame, but I really like that cartoon. But if you see the cartoon, I think it's called Monsters, Inc. It's a fun cartoon, but they go through, and what's happened is in the monsters world, they pair up a boogie monster at nighttime to scare children. And when children scream, they harvest that energy. They harvest the children's screams, and they use that as their energy source in Monsters, Inc. Well, it was a fun movie, but basically that's exactly what the 2D entities do to us as humans. Now, as a natural human being, we play with our pets. We get our energy from being around other humans and enjoying, not vampiring off the energy from somebody else, but we get them from nature. 2D entities cannot do that. That's why they frighten us. That's why the PTSD. That's why these elaborate filters and distortions have been put into place. That's why you'll see whenever you come in here, the title for this is actually 5-1. That's the Lemurian date, because everybody was really excited. We've got the 1-1-1-1-1 going. Well, yeah, I love numerology as much as the next person, but you need to consider whose numerology are you using? And so it's another distortion. And again, whenever you have that distortion, you can feel some of your energy leave. And that's because it's just fed a 2D entity. Kind of like the politics game. That's feeding 2D entities. So we need to go forward, and we need to go, hey, the other person that's across the aisle, they're trying to feed their families. They're trying to, and the filters that people are seeing, you may not actually be seeing on your TV what they're seeing on their TV. Even though it's supposed to be the same thing, you may actually be getting two different movies or two different variations of the same idea. And so what you may have actually been given as information may not actually be true. And if it causes division, if it causes you, especially if it causes you to trigger into hate for anyone, anything on the other side, woo, there's a 2D filter right there. Okay. So you need to back away from it, go up onto the big Toroa wings, which are the albatross wings, go into your observer mode and watch from above so that you can get up and above and out of that. Yep. Yeah, laughter definitely has more power. And they even utilized that, Utica, whenever that was in that, in the Monsters Inc. movie. Yeah, it is one of my all-time favorites. But I have to say, whenever I saw that, and it just smacked me in the face because it's like, oh my, that is exactly what the 2Ds do. It's a fun movie, but it is the perfect illustration. And yes, our laughter is much, much higher as far as the energy goes, but their preferred energy feed is always the lower frequencies. So you're looking at fear, shame, guilt, even apathy is something that they can feed off of. But that's why you'll see things like war. They don't care who's winning or losing. As long as they can traumatize people, they're being fed. And yes, laughter is more powerful than fear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. Yeah, the ridiculous in order to defeat the boggart. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it was the Monsters Inc. was the cartoon that I was referring to. It's a really good illustration. It's a cartoon, it's an animation. So you have different, like I said, you have different monsters. It's an adorable film. I absolutely loved it. And but what they do is they pair up the boogie monster with the kids at night, whatever's going to scare them the most, so that they could get their energy out of it. And it's a great illustration of what the 2D entities do. So as we go forward, like I said, it's going to be important that we remember as much as we can, because see, that's just it. As they had it down to a science in Monsters Inc. They had it down to where they knew what would scare that child, that specific child, each time. So it's the same with us. You know, these guys have been in charge for thousands of years. They've been traumatizing us for thousands of years. And it's the reason why, you know, a natural human will always want to have peace. They want to be in a loving community. They'll look like a raft of otters or a pod. Yeah, it's the adrenaline that they were capturing. Only they were stylizing it, hypnicity. They were stylizing it as the screams from the children, which was perfect because that's exactly what happens nowadays. Literally, the 2D entities are still doing that, and that is how they feed off of them. Yeah, children's movies are more spiritual. Narnia, Chronicles of Narnia was another one that was really good for that. And yeah, it is the adrenaline that they were capturing and still are. And so, um, can you imagine me on a date with Hannibal Lecter? We'd have an interesting conversation. That's for sure. This is as high as I can go in the light. I can go pretty deep diving if I need to. It's all good. No, we're not going to harm any humans. There were no humans harmed in the making of this. Can you imagine, though, with a Hannibal Lecter? Yikes. Some people are just built that way, but that's fine because they can always be recycled into the light. And once they come through the light, they can come through and evolve. It's all we're down here for, anyways. It's just playing around and trying to evolve. Bounce ideas. Yeah, today's All Saints Day. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Love that one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the throwback book. Although I think it was book 6. I think it was book 6 of that series. It was either book 6 or book 5. Because one was a horse and his boy. And then there was the magician's nephews. And what that did was that went back. Like she's saying, it's the book that explains before the first book of the Chronicles of Narnia. I loved the Chronicles of Narnia when I was a kid. Huh. Really? So he kind of did Anthony go ahead and just kind of funnel Hannibal Lecter? I figure, Martha Stewart, God bless them. Chow chows are an interesting, distinctive breed. They're a lot more like a cat than they are a dog. And she really likes chow chows, and they're very standoffish. And I thought, says it all. Matches. It is just it matches her personality. She doesn't want anything too clingy. C.S. Lewis was absolutely a master storyteller. Really? I didn't know that. Do you think he's on the psychopath scale or sociopath scale? See, some people come in and they're born with that tendency. I mean, their brains are just formed that way. And it just is who they are. Other people will have a varying degree of narcissism. And so they see the world, they interact with the world very differently. And depending upon if it's an aware narcissist, then they can navigate with that. It can be used as a skill or it can be used as a handicap, especially if you're an unaware and low narcissist. That can be very dangerous, especially if you have the psychopathic and sociopathic tendencies. Oh, so it took him another marriage to piece things together. Way to go, gal. Nice. Nice. Trees really can talk. They communicate with each other all the time. In fact, they are just as sentient as anybody else that's down here. Same with the rocks. You'll find that the crystals can talk to you. But the trees absolutely communicate with one another. And scientists are kind of floored whenever they find this. As the same with the vegetarians, God bless them. They think, oh, well, because they don't scream, it's okay to eat them. No, plants actually scream just as much, and they don't want to be eaten any more than anybody else does. So, but as far as this question goes, yeah, absolutely. Some of us have always been surrounded by magical creatures. And again, your imagination is amazing. So dive into, you can make them as real as you like. They are in a different dimension than we are, which is why we are attempting to go up in our frequencies. Bye, Lori. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, exactly. Talk to the trees, for sure. The gal had an antique shop and a psychic in the back, and the smell of incense lured him into it. Isn't that amazing? Smell is deeply wired in our brains. I don't doubt that. See, and that was probably for his highest good. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Hug a tree, hug a tree. Well, my dears, we're coming up almost on 2 hours again, so I'm going to go ahead and duck out of here. I will be on again next week. on Tuesday. And let me see. Next week we have on upcoming Wednesday, I will be on Valerie's show on Illumination Portal. So that'll be where we'll be chatting next. And I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you so, so much for stopping in. And welcome to the month of Kahuku. And the Stargate for this month, again, is the Dolphin. It's Rehu, which is Sirius B. And it's definitely a transformation month. So be kind and gentle with yourselves. Laugh, have fun, and have a great weekend, everybody. Okay, bye-bye. I will see you on Tuesday.